So right here, this is some black bear meat. So if you're not a hunter and you're watching this video, you might be wondering, where does someone even get bear meat? Is bear meat even safe to consume? Do people actually even eat bears? You might have heard that people only hunt bears for the trophy purposes. Anyways, I'm going to address some of that in this video. We'll start off with, where do you even get bear meat? So in the US and in Canada, the general rule when it comes to obtaining wild bear meat, or any wild game meat for that matter, is that you have to either hunt it yourself or know a hunter that is willing to share some of that meat with you. Now this is because in the US and in Canada, it is illegal to buy or sell legit wild game meat. So when you see wild game meat such as elk or venison served at a restaurant or at the grocery store, most likely it's coming from a farmed animal. Now I say this is a general rule because there are a few exceptions to this where wild animals can be caught or shot and brought to a federally inspected slaughterhouse where they'll be approved for sale. This typically happens with wild pigs because they're not classified as a game species in a lot of states. Now I don't know all the details about how this works. It's a bit complicated. If someone knows more, please leave a comment on this video to share that info with me. Now as for the bear meat here, I got this from my friend Lee. He managed to shoot a black bear here in California this past summer, and he was kind enough to share some of the meat with me. So I'm going to be thawing this meat out in the fridge over the next 2 days, and I'm going to be making some Japanese curry with this bear meat. Alright, so the bear meat's been thawing out in the fridge for 1 day now. I don't need to use it all. This is about 3 pounds of bear meat. I'm going to portion it out. I'll use about 1.5 pounds. Okay, now while I portion out the bear meat, explain a bit about like how to make bear meat safe to eat. Because when it comes to cooking with bear meat, one thing you have to be aware of is trichinosis. So if you've never heard of what trichinosis is, it's a nasty parasite infection that you can get by consuming undercooked meat. It used to be pretty common in pork, which is why for a long time it's been recommended you always cook your pork till well done. When it comes to wild game animals that tend to have a risk of trichinosis, it's primarily any animals that have an omnivorous or carnivorous diet. So bears, wild hogs have the potential for that, coyotes, mountain lions, things like that. When it comes to killing off the trichinosis parasite, there's a recommended temperature range that you should cook at. I'll throw up a chart here. On the low end, somewhere around the 130, 135 degrees Fahrenheit, you hit that temperature and you cook your meat for a certain amount of time there, kill a parasite. But for the most part, you're safe if you hit around 145 degrees Fahrenheit for I don't know how long. You can see it in the chart I throw up here. So when it comes to bear meat, because of the risk of trichinosis, you need to be careful how you cook it. To be on the safe side, a lot of longer cooking time recipes, stews, curries, or chilies are going to be a good way to utilize bear meat. In general, I've read and heard that bear is very similar to beef. I'm doing a Japanese curry recipe. I normally make that with chicken, but I've done it with beef as well, so I'll be substituting some bear meat in there. Alright, let's get started on making this Japanese curry. Here are the ingredients I'll be using. I have some carrots, some gold potatoes, a piece of ginger. I'll probably use about 1 inch of this ginger, Fuji apple, some garlic, a brown onion, bear meat. For the spices I'll be using, I have some garam masala, smoked paprika, curry powder, and cumin. I'll be using some light soy sauce, ketchup, and honey to flavor the curry, as well as salt and black pepper. To make the curry roux that I'll be using to thicken the curry, I'll be using some flour, butter, and olive oil. Okay, so I'm going to start by peeling and mincing some garlic. I'm going to use about 5 cloves. Alright, next up, I'm going to mince some ginger. If you didn't know, an easy way to peel off the skin of ginger is just to use a spoon. Right now I'm going to cut up this onion. Right now I'm going to peel these carrots and chop them up. Peel these potatoes and chop them up. There's no need to soak these potatoes in water because I want to keep the starch from them to thicken the curry. So the last thing to do is grate the Fuji apple. ingredients are prepared, I'm gonna move on to cooking. Now some of these I could have prepared while I let the meat simmer. For instance, the carrots, the potatoes, and the apple, they're going in towards the end of the cooking process. So I could be doing those later while the meat is cooking, but I just want to get everything done ahead of time because I gotta film, and it's a bit chaotic to be cooking, prepping food, and filming all at once. Alright, so this pot's heating up. I'm gonna add some olive oil. Alright, now I'm gonna start browning the meat. So there's a lot of moisture coming out of the bear meat right now, as well as the bear fat is rendered down. That's where all the steam is coming from. Alright, I'm gonna add in the garlic, ginger, and onions now. Garlic first. Ginger. And onions. And season that with a little bit of salt. Yeah, I always like to season my food while I'm cooking. I'll season a bit at a time throughout. So I'm gonna add in some of the spices now. Start off with some paprika, some cumin, next up curry powder. I'm not gonna put too much in yet because I'll also be mixing some spices in with the curry roux when I make that. And last thing, some garam masala. Do a little bit of black pepper. Right now I'm gonna add the broth. I'm just using some store-bought chicken broth here. So this is 946 milliliters. It's about a liter or 1 quart. I'm gonna add this broth in, bring this up to a boil, and then reduce it down to a simmer and let it simmer for about an hour. So I need to add some more liquid. I'm gonna add about 500 milliliters, so about half of this chicken broth into this, and then let it continue to cook. If I didn't have any more chicken broth, I would just substitute some water. All right, that's probably good. Okay, now while the meat simmers on the stove, I'm going to prepare the curry roux and cook some rice. Alright, while the bear meat continues to cook, I'm going to start making the curry roux. Some butter, maybe like 2 tablespoons of that. A little bit of olive oil as well. Alright, so the butter is melted. I'm going to add some flour. So if you don't know what curry roux is, it's what's used to thicken the curry. For Japanese curry, it's typically what you find at a store in the little boxes. It comes in with these little cubes that you break and melt into your curry. I prefer to make it at home. That way I can make it with butter and olive oil rather than whatever oils they use in the packaged curry roux. So I just keep stirring this on low heat. Gradually let it brown, stirring frequently, make sure it doesn't burn. Okay, so the curry roux is starting to darken. It's a light brown right now. I want to get a little bit darker and then add in the spices. Man, it smells so good. It smells like cookies in here. I think this roux is ready. It's good brown color now. And add in some spices. Garam masala, cumin, curry powder, some paprika. All right. That's ready. I'm just gonna set this aside until later. I'm gonna add in the grated apples though, let that cook into this curry. Let it break down and flavor everything. So now the bear meat's been cooking for about an hour and a half. I just tasted some. It's pretty tender. It'll get a bit more tender in the next 30 minutes. So now I'm gonna add the carrots and potatoes. So carrots going in, mix up the potatoes. Alright, now that the carrots and potatoes are in, I'm also going to season the curry with some soy sauce, ketchup, and honey. Maybe like a tablespoon or 2 of soy sauce. Do a bit more salt. Some more black pepper. Alright, here's some honey. So Japanese curry has a little bit of sweetness to it, so that's where the honey comes in. The Fuji apple that I put in earlier also helps to add some sweetness to the curry. The ketchup helps to add a little bit of tomato flavor and acidity to help balance out the flavors in the curry. I'm gonna let this cook for another 30 minutes until the carrots and potatoes are soft. Then I'm gonna add in the roux and thicken the curry. Now if you made too much curry roux, you can pack it up and freeze it and use it next time. If you didn't make enough curry roux, you can either make more to continue thickening the curry, or you can just mix some cornstarch and water and add that to the curry to thicken it. Alright, so the curry's done. I got it right consistency. Now I'm gonna start plating. Now, if you've been to Japan, you'll know there are quite a few places that they like to plate their food with cute characters and stuff. Sometimes they use bears. Well, I gotta plate this with a bear if I'm making Japanese bear curry. For some extra decoration on the dish, I'm gonna make a little omelet. A little bit of milk to that. Alright, now let's cut some ears out of this omelet for this bear. Go, there's one ear. Alright, it's looking good. Alright, I'm done plating this curry. Here you can take a look. Right, so finally gonna sit down and try this Japanese bear curry. This is gonna be my first time trying a dish made with bear meat. I did sample the bear meat while I was cooking it, and honestly it tastes like beef. But yeah, let's try out this dish. And the bear, it came out so tender. I had to cook it for a while, but it was worth it. But yeah, in terms of like flavor on the bear meat, it kind of just tastes like beef. I like how Japanese curry is like a mix of savory and sweet. So good. I don't know what makes it so much more flavorful. Maybe it's all the bear fat, because the bear is very fatty, so it could be all that bear fat mixing in with this curry. Normally I make this with chicken thighs. They don't have as much fat on it. I tend to skim some of the fat off too, but yeah, this tastes so good. Definitely one of the best Japanese curry dishes I've made. So yeah, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. I know most of the videos on my YouTube channel have been more of my outdoor adventures. I do have some short videos that are some of my cooking. I do love to cook in the winter months. I'm spending a lot of my time cooking. I love to cook, and I spend that time improving my skills and trying new recipes. So if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more of that, please let me know. So I think that's it. I'm gonna wrap up this video. See you all next time.